Good evening, welcome to a very special hour of Another Country with me, Ricky Ross, and my very special guest, Carrie Underwood. Well, Carrie Underwood, a huge welcome to Another Country. Normally I would welcome you to Scotland at this point, but we're speaking in London, so we'll just kid on that we're in Scotland, but
Okay.
it's fantastic to have you.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back.
Well, it's great to have you. Can we start right at the minute? Because I think this is what most people have heard at the moment from your new record. The first thing they've heard is a Smoke Break. Mm-hmm. And I was really excited about this because when I first heard it, I just thought, well, I may be quite wrong, but to me it sounds like a future #1 single. I guess you're very happy about it.
I am. I mean, it's always a very nervous time before you release new music because especially if you do something that's a little bit different than what you've done in the past, you just want people to get it and you want people to like it.
Yeah.
And all the feedback we got was positive, and then when we released it, fans just really reacted very nicely. Yeah.
Very nicely, yeah. Is that lovely when you go out in the car, though, when you drive and you hear it on, then you flip the station, you hear another one, and you think, okay, something's happening. Is that still good for you?
I love it, and I love hearing like who my songs are sandwiched in between. So,
really?
Oh, it's one of my favorite things. I'm like, oh, they just played this person, and oh my gosh, and they just played it. So it's people that I'm still like in awe of, and just still a huge fan of, and people that I grew up listening to.
Of course. What's your favorite Carrie sandwich then? Let me ask you that one.
Musically, my favorite Carrie sandwich. I mean, it just depends. There's so many great new artists right now, but there's also a lot of people that I just love and respect. And I mean, my first concert was Alan Jackson, so just like the fact that he knows my name, and yeah, it's just I'm like 10 years old suddenly back at my first concert. You know,
how brilliant. So if Alan Jackson was before it,
don't rock the jukebox. My heart is ready for the Rolling Stone.
and then there was the new Carrie single.
Yes.
What would be ideally just coming just right after that?
I mean, somebody that's, you know, current on the radio, like a Keith Urban, or, I mean, Brad Paisley's a good friend of mine. It's just always interesting to me to hear what's around my songs.
It's really funny because you're very young and you've had great success, but my first experience of going to Nashville as a slightly older person, and it really was, I'd been in America a long time, but it wasn't until 2007 that I got to Tennessee. Okay. And ever since then I've just kept going back, obviously, once you go. But, you know, you were all over the radio at that point. I guess 2005, 2006 was when it really took off.
Yeah.
Do you mind if we just go back and talk about that time? Yeah, good. Before I class myself as a broadcaster, and you'll soon gather that I'm probably not, but I do songwriting. And the song that really made a huge impression on me was Jesus Take the Wheel, because it's one of these songs, I know it's a life-changing song for you as well, but I think for people who love music, certainly as a songwriter, it was one of these ones you went, oh boy, I wish I could have done that. Mm-hmm. When you first came across the song, what was your reaction to it? I can't remember. Were you a co-writer on that song?
I was not. I didn't really start co-writing until my second album. Everything was just happening so fast, and I didn't even know if I would be a good songwriter at the time. I was just like, oh, I guess I'll try a little bit and see what happens. But yeah, I mean, that one, when I first heard it, I knew that if any other female that I looked up to sang it, I would love it. And that was kind of my, you know, my benchmark. Like, would I want to turn this up in my car and sing along with it? And I definitely would.
Did you like the story as well?
I did. I thought it was really relatable too. And even though, you know, it is Jesus Take the Wheel, I didn't feel like it was too preachy. It was a story song about somebody who realized she wasn't really living her life the way she should, you know, and I feel like we've all been there, no matter if you're religious or not religious or whatever. But it was just very approachable and realistic.
She was driving last Friday on her way to Cincinnati.
Jesus Take the Wheel by my guest, Carrie Underwood. In terms of having a country career and people taking you seriously, I mean, did that change things?
It definitely solidified a path that I was on, because I was on American Idol, and so I immediately, kind of had a fan base before I really had music of my own, and people were kind of wondering, like, is it going to work? What's she going to do? Like, we've never had anybody like this come off a TV show like this, in our format before, so I feel like everybody was kind of waiting to see what I was going to do, and it just solidified where I wanted to be, and it was very, very country, very,
exactly. Country, I think, is the word as well, isn't it? I guess it showed that you really did believe in country music.
Yeah, and the second I was done with the, American Idol tour and everything, like, I moved to Nashville, and we're lucky enough to be in the company of some really amazing people that just helped it all happen. Because, being on a show like that certainly does not guarantee anything. You could put out an album and nobody care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a lot of things have to line up after that, and I was so lucky that everything did.
Let's talk about another couple of songs on that record, which I love. A Last Name.
I don't even know my last name. Oh, my mama would be so ashamed.
A big song for you.
Yeah.
And So Small, which is another one that whenever I hear that mandolin riff, I get a little shiver. And really big songs. I mean, what do you remember again about these songs at the time? Were these songs that you...
Those were co-writes.
Those are co-writes. So you were in the room.
Yeah.
So you maybe got a little shiver as these ideas were beginning to come together.
Yeah, with So Small, Hillary Lindsay, who's a writer that I write with a lot, and she writes for me. I pick a lot of her stuff just because she's an amazing writer. But she came in, like, playing mandolin, and she was all about the mandolin at that time, and she kind of had that riff going, and we built a song around it. It was one of those that we tried to keep it really simple, and didn't want to just overcomplicate things. We wanted to say that love is it, your love for other people, the love that you feel yourself from other people. It's a love song without it being like a relationship love song.
What you got if you ain't got love?
Carrie Underwood and So Small, released in 2007 and written by the Dream Team, who we'll hear more about soon, of Hillary Lindsay, Luke Laird and Carrie Underwood herself. You're listening to Another Country with Ricky Ross on BBC Radio Scotland. Musically, Carrie, also, you obviously want to have something that really, stretches you.
Yeah, I do. I love challenging songs. I always have. I've learned as I've matured that it's important to have songs that don't, push the boundaries in every way vocally, because even putting together a tour, when we first start out on the road, I'm like, oh my gosh, why do I sing hard songs? But yeah, I love big songs. Yeah. I love go big or go home. I love big songs vocally.
Yeah, because I would imagine that it would be a taxing thing, though, because you've got these, big songs in front of you, and big emotionally, and just the big jumps melodically as well.
And I do my best to not deviate from melodies on tour, because I'm like, people want to hear songs the way they know songs, so I don't drop keys or anything like that. I sing them the way we wrote them, so yeah.
Well, I love to hear that. I love the fact because I think that there are so many singers we could name. Well, let's not name them, but there are people who just assume that people know the melody and then kind of sing around it. But they're great melodies, and if you co-wrote the song, you want to show that off as well. That combination, Hillary Lindsay, Luke Laird, and you, is that the kind of dream team then these days?
Actually, for this newest album, you just never know how things are going to end up. And the Dream Team kind of shifted a little bit. But we've had a lot of, the three of us, Hillary and Luke and myself, have had a lot of luck writing together in the past. So you just never know. You can't, you can write amazingly with one person for one album, and the next album you try it again, and the magic just isn't there for some reason, and it's not explainable.
What about the fact that you have a female writer in the room? Does that help a lot?
I think so. Sometimes I'll hear a song on the radio that's sung by a female, and I'll be like, I'm pretty sure, guys wrote that.
Really?
Yeah, because it's just things that women don't necessarily say. Like, if there's ever like a girlfriend like thrown into a song, I'm like, I've never said girlfriend like ever. I don't think, and I think that's how guys think that women talk to each other. So anyway, I think it's helpful that I write a lot with females and vocally too. It's easier because sometimes if I am writing with two guys, I'm like, you're singing an octave below me right now, and that's going to be like way too high so we're going to have to fix this.
Yeah, fantastic. We've talked about these kind of ballad songs. They are ballad songs, fantastic dynamic range in them. Let's talk a little bit about these darker stories that you do, which always really intrigue me. They're kind of like mini soap operas. Before He Cheats, Two Black Cadillacs, and very recently Little Toy Guns, which are little dramas, aren't they?
I love story songs. I mean, I feel like that's one of the things that is unique and amazing about country music is we do have a lot of story songs. They are mini movies on the radio, and I love that. And I'm a lover of like horror movies and suspense movies and things like that. So of course I would kind of venture to play a little bit on the darker side, but we try to make a lot of what we do have a positive outcome or a positive message.
Sure.
Like Little Toy Guns. I mean, it sounds, people haven't heard the song. It probably, I'm not singing about guns. It's about, the words that we use and how they can hurt and how they can hurt children.
That thing of going back to story songs, I mean, it's a great country tradition, and I'm thinking, what were the songs for you? What were the ones for you that you remember as being story songs that you thought, oh, yeah, that kind of still gets?
I mean, the Thunder Rolls, Garth Brooks.
Thunder rolls and the lightning strikes. Another day grows cold on a sleepless night. As the storm goes on, I let it grow. The thunder.
Reba did a lot of them, so Fancy, or I know it's a remake, but The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia, I mean, that's one we reference all the time, because you just have to listen to the whole song so you get to the end to find out what happened, but it's also you can sing along to it, and it's memorable.
He was on his way home from Canada, been 2 weeks gone, and he thought he'd stop at Webb's and have him a drink before he went on to her. And he Bolo said hello. He said hi, what's doing? Whoa, said sit down, I got some bad news that's gonna hurt.
Johnny Cash, A Boy Named Sue. I mean, you're like, what's gonna happen here? He meets his dad, and now what? But I mean, there's so many throughout the history of country music.
Well, my daddy left home when I was 3, and he didn't leave much to Ma and me. Just this old guitar and an empty bottle of booze. Now, I don't blame him because he run and hid, but the meanest thing that he ever did was before he left, he went and named me Sue.
What about you and that music, Carrie? Was it something that was your folks that loved it? Because, I mean, I guess a lot of your friends at school and so on wouldn't necessarily love country maybe as much as that.
I'm from Oklahoma.
Really?
It's part of the culture there. I mean, there were country music listeners were the majority, and if you listen to other kinds of music, there were like little pockets of people who would like listen to rap music. There were like 5 people, like those people listen to rap music. These people listen to like rock music, and there's still just little pockets of people. But I'd say like 75% of the people that I went to school with listen to country music.
So, when you went to a school dance, when you went to, whatever, there was still country music in these situations as well. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I remember them playing, this is completely inappropriate to play at like a junior high, like dance, but a family tradition, Hank Williams Jr.
Oh,
yeah.
right.
Why do you drink? Hey, why do you roll smoke? Why must you live out the songs that you wrote over and over
drinking and
Yes.
smoking, and that was it.
That was part of it. It was culturally part of it.
Yeah.
So it was in your, and I mean at home as well, with lots of records and
my parents listened to they would listen to the oldies station whenever we'd go to like grandma's house or whatever, and so I listened to a lot of like Rolling Stones and Creedence Clearwater Revival, and my mom liked the groups, so she liked like the Supremes, and she loved the Four Seasons, and so I just got kind of a big mixture.
And was singing, were people singing in the house as well? Was there music in the house apart from the record player and the radio?
No, my mom would like join in singing hymns, you know, in church, never like solo, but she always had a nice voice to listen to. My dad loved music, but God bless him, he wasn't exactly musically inclined, so to speak. Yeah,
but for you, I mean, it was something that was there, wasn't it? It was there all along the way, but I mean, almost didn't happen. Is that right? Would it be fair to say that?
Well, I'm such a realist, and I'm such a practical person. I always loved to sing. I mean, as soon as I could talk, you know, I just would annoy my sisters just singing everything all the time as loud as I could. And I was in the choir at school, and I would sing at church, and I just always loved to. That's what makes me happy. And but that's, everybody wants to be, in my mind, I'm like, well, everybody wants to be famous. Well, everybody wants to be a singer. Everybody wants to be on TV. Everybody wants to be on the radio. So what makes me special? And I would sing places, again, just to kind of make myself happy. And it was good practice now, looking back on all of it. But trying out for American Idol is just not something that I would do.
I mean, all that's happened has been, I know, must have been great news. But was it if you'd had your kind of career again, sort of thing, would you have done it anything differently?
I would not have done a thing differently. I mean, it was just from that audition onward, like my life was just changed forever, and I was on this incredible path. And it all happened so fast, and I feel like I learned so much so fast, but it was just...
Do you think,
amazing.
When people reacted to your voice as well, and people were sort of going, wow, wait a minute, we've got a singer here, was that, in a sense, did that sort of make you think, wait, I have got something really special?
I knew that people would seem to enjoy what I did, but I don't know, like, I always knew I was, like, pretty good. You know, I don't think I was ever able to say any more than that. I'm probably still not, you know, because no matter how good you are, there's always somebody that could, that's way better, no matter what you do or where you are.
Well, I think an amazing voice. Let's go back to songs. Let's go back to talking about songs. You were talking about singing in church there. A song called Something in the Water. Mm-hmm. Beautiful song.
Thank you.
And interesting enough, it hit both audiences. It hit the mainstream, I suppose, the country audience and pop audience, but also the gospel audience as well. I mean, was that difficult? Was that something you wanted to do? Or was it just were you aware when you do a song like that, it's got these kind of very, you know, highly charged lyrics? It's going to be picked up by lots of different people as well.
Yeah. I mean, I'm completely naive to... I don't know, to everything, to be honest. I make music that I like, and we write, whatever happens, happens, and we don't try to force it. It's not like we walk into a writing session, and we're like, we have to write this religious song, you know, or this cheating song, like, whatever it is, it just happens.
Yeah.
And I kind of had that just lyric, there must be something in the water, and as it pertained to, you know, baptism, just kind of in my little notebook that I keep on me. And the other writers were into it, so we wrote it. And I was surprised when, like, the label kind of wanted it to be a single, and wanted it to, like, you know, be on the greatest hits and be our first single off that. I was surprised that everybody reacted the way they did to it. I knew I loved it, but I did know, you know, this is a highly religious song, so I kind of figured people would be like, ooh, I don't know about that, you know.
You said I've been where you've been before.
Carrie Underwood and Something in the Water. You performed it live with the choir and so on. It's an amazing thing when you're surrounded by a choir, isn't it?
And it's such a joyful song. Yeah. I mean, above all, that's what I hope people take away from it. Like, it's just it's just a joyful song. It's a jubilant, feeling that I have when I sing it. So it's always nice when we have a big choir. There's a different energy.
Let's get right back up to date. And we were talking about smoke break earlier on, but when someone comes in with an idea, say, we're going to call it smoke break. I mean, was that on your little pad of notes, or was that someone else's? And did you think, okay?
Well, it kind of came in the moment. The people I was writing with for the day, Hillary Lindsay again, and Krista Stefano, who I've written quite a bit with lately, we were in the middle of another song, and it was like that first gorgeous day of the year. The sun was shining. It was like nice and warm outside for the first time. And we were just kind of looking out the window like, why aren't we out there? So we'd kind of come to a slow place in the song we were working on, because sometimes you just get stuck.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, let's just go sit outside for a minute. Grab your guitar. Let's take our coffee outside and sit. And we start talking about breaks and all this stuff. And it's like, Smoke Break is such a great title. So it was my idea.
So
I was the one that kind of said, this is cool. Like, this is a great title. What does that mean? What does smoke break mean? And then having that, just moment to yourself, take a step away, the lyrics are like, I don't smoke, I don't drink, but it's like sometimes I just feel like I need something.
Yeah.
She's a small town, hard-working woman just trying to make a living.
Smoke Break by my guest, Carrie Underwood, and you're listening to Another Country with Ricky Ross on BBC Radio Scotland. It's a real anthem. I mean, it's a real country song in the sense it's a real anthem for working people, isn't it? And you've been there.
Yeah, I've had my share of jobs that were difficult and stressful. I worked at a vet clinic. I'd have to wake up at like 4 a.m. to get ready, go to work, go to class, go back to work, go back to class, whatever I was doing. So I've definitely been there, and I've been there as a mom, as a wife, as somebody that's just like, oh my gosh, I just need to take a step away for a second.
Well, you talked about this. Congratulations, by the way, because you're a mother for. Well, this is your son. Is it
Isaiah?
Isaiah, lovely. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Is he traveling with you?
He's not here. This is my first trip away from him. It was hard. I know it's only like 5 days I'm going to be gone, but I did sleep last night. For the first time, this year, I actually slept well.
I think that's something that goes on for, speaking as someone who has 4 children and I think it goes on for a long time. I haven't heard all the new album, but I'm very excited by it. And the fact it is called Storyteller, which is what we were talking about earlier on. That just, I guess, you still think of yourself as that.
I do. I mean, it's the coolest thing to be able to, to write a song and you decide the melody, the lyrics. You decide how it's going to sound, in the studio, and then to hear it on an album and be able to be on stage. You are telling stories. You're as a singer, you're a conduit. You're up there.
I don't know if these are your songs. I'm going to mention a couple from the record which I really enjoyed because I was listening to it yesterday in my kitchen. But when you don't write a song and someone else gets a song in your record, what has to happen? I mean, how do you hear it? Tell us a little bit about that process.
Well, I honestly I'm all about the best song winning, no matter what that is. So even when I write songs, they're basically, I'm hardest on my own stuff, to be honest. And I'm like, nope, not good enough. It might be okay it's not there. It's it needs to. We've set the bar high. So when I hear a song that I did not write, I mean, I'm like, can I connect to that song? Like how?
Tell me how you hear it, because I'm fascinated. Is it you stick the CD in the? How does it go?
Depends. It depends on where I'm at and what I'm doing, and am I on tour and am I at home? And I probably listen to them mostly on my computer speakers to begin with. And then if there's something that piques my interest that way, then I'm like, okay, I need my headphones. Where are my headphones? Like I need to listen to this again. So that's kind of how it starts.
And you sort of fall in love with it, I guess.
But you also fall out of love before, there's things that we hold, we're like, we might want this, like let us hang on to it and live with it for a minute. And then after a few more listens, it's not really connecting.
Yes.
So we say, okay.
And the connection is you feel you have to sing that and believe it.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Dirty Laundry, which is another one of these, Carrie kind of, slightly kind of really rough or rock so well I don't know how to describe
No,
them,
it is.
But it's great when you do that stuff.
Thank you.
Like Before He Cheats, I suppose, that kind of thing.
It's got a twang to it, but it's still very cool and fresh, and it's just it's a cool song.
Dirty Laundry by Carrie Underwood from her new album Storyteller. And is this record, I mean, I know you haven't gone away from country music, but would you say it's more country than the last record?
I would. Just, and it's just kind of what happened. I feel like today in music, we're all so influenced by other artists and other genres, but it did end up kind of being the most, I guess, quote unquote, traditional country album that I've ever done.
Do you think that you and, well, there will be others, but you particularly have done a kind of a job in terms of sort of reinventing country music in the sense of, you said, okay, in Oklahoma where you were, it was cool and so on. But let's face it, it hasn't always been like that. And perhaps country music has been seen as a slightly, older mums and dads thing. I love it. You love it.
Yeah.
But for the younger generation, have someone like Carrie Underwood brought that back and said, actually, you know what, you should listen to this stuff. There's a lot of good stuff there.
I think there's a lot of artists that have made it, that have brought a lot of fans into it for sure. And I think that's wonderful. That's exciting because, like I said, people are influenced by different kinds of music, and there's certain artists that have more of an R&B flair to them, certain artists that do a lot more pop stuff. We do have the traditional, country artists. So no matter who you are or what kind of music you like, I feel like you can turn on the radio and find artists that you definitely connect with.
Yeah. Well, listen, it's fantastic what you're doing, and we wish you just every success.
Thank you so much.
Carrie, we're very excited in Scotland because Country to Country is going to be even bigger.
Yeah.
It's coming from, it's been in London, it's going to be in Scotland, it's going to be in Glasgow, and we hear that you're coming.
I am. March 11th. So that's the day after my birthday. So very excited about that. I'll be at the Glasgow Clyde Auditorium.
Fantastic. We can't wait.
I've never been, and I've wanted to be in Scotland, so I'm very excited.
All this time you've never been to Scotland.
I know. It's unfortunate. We're going to stop that now. I'm coming.
Yeah, you heard it first here. Carrie Underwood at Country to Country in 2016.
I need something strong tonight. Better if you can.
Carrie Underwood and Chaser from her new album, Storyteller. We'll look forward to Carrie making her debut appearance in Scotland next year at the Country to Country Festival in Glasgow. It takes place across the 11th, 12th and 13th of March at the Clyde Auditorium, and also on the bill as well as Carrie, Miranda Lambert, Dwight Yoakam, Thomas Rhett, Ashley Monroe, Andrew Combs, Eric Church, Casey Musgraves, Chris Stapleton, Sam Hunt and Little Big Time.